the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming
every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are streaming on all social media platforms, including Twitch as well. Keys to the City. I'm sorry, I'm just a little excited. It's the college football playoff show. We haven't done college football all season, but guess what? You know what? It's a perfect timing. We're about to have the unreeling of the top four.
Oh, absolutely. I'm ready, baby.
Yeah, Ted's ready. He's ready to go.
I'm sharing the show,
sharing
bro.
it all over the world.
What do you think I'm doing right now?
It was a great weekend of football and started Friday with the Pac-12 championship game and the Oregon Ducks beating the USC Trojans, the once undefeated Trojans. Now, see ya. Out of the picture. Get out of here. Now we move over to yesterday where we got to see a lot of, I don't know, maybe with Notre Dame, I should say. I've been bashing Notre Dame, and I know people have been watching, and I went on the show the other day, and I guess maybe I'm right about with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish again. We got to see a struggling Ohio State team, make history yesterday. Trey Sermon making history with 331 yards, a school and Big Ten championship record. Oklahoma looking great with that defense, finding a way to win again. And then you had the night game. Boy, did it deliver some fireworks. Let me just ask you, Ted. I'll start with you and Joe before we get into the rankings because they will be coming on. What did you think of yesterday's games?
I mean, pretty much as I expected. Alabama was going to win. I thought Clemson was going to win. I thought Ohio State was going to win. Everyone that won, I expected. Cincinnati won. I'm a little shocked at how close every game played for the most part, except for the Notre Dame game. Alabama game, close game. Florida, I felt like that game was going back and forth, and whoever had the ball last was going to win the game. I mean, Alabama had the lead, so I know Florida was always playing catch-up, but like we said before, if they kept playing for another 30 minutes, it probably would have been 100-92. That's the type of game it felt like. Florida couldn't stop Alabama. Clemson showed their pure dominance over Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. That's the difference between having the number one pick as your quarterback and having a seventh-round pick as a quarterback. I love Ian Book. He's a great college quarterback. It's like the Tim Tebow story, bro. Tim Tebow, great college story, but there's a difference. We start to understand that. Difference. Ohio State didn't win impressively, but they won, and that's all they had to do. And that's what you're supposed to do, just win the games. They didn't give up any points in the second half. Defense played much better. They leaned on their running game, which first time you've really seen that all year. I mean, what's to say? You're still going to have the same four best teams. They're just going to be rearranged. It's going to be Alabama. It's going to be Clemson, Ohio State, and Notre Dame will be the top four. I know people are going to say, why not Texas A&M? One loss. You won 7 straight games in the SEC. Your loss was a blowout to Alabama. Notre Dame's one loss was to Clemson. That's what it really comes down to. Whose loss is better? And that's really what it comes down to. Whose loss is actually better? Texas A&M's loss to Alabama or Clemson's loss, Notre Dame's loss to Clemson?
Joseph?
I think the biggest thing that happened yesterday was that Iowa State lost again. That just made my day. I can't even tell you, because for them to cram that 2-loss garbage in there and then to watch them suffer a third loss, really, I enjoyed that very much.
I forgot to even mention that, and we said it before, and Oklahoma's a team right now that if there was a couple more weeks, that would be a team you'd have to watch out for in the Final Four, because you can really tell since Spencer Rattler's game, since he got benched against the Red River Shootout against Texas, that was a great game we watched right here. Mm-hmm. They've been a different team. He got benched. He got put back in. He led them back to a victory, like a 4-overtime victory. That was an unbelievable game if everyone remembers that. And they're getting hot. Their defense is top. The rush defense has been really good the past 7 weeks. Statistically, I think it was 86 yards I think they showed per game. So the top 5 rush defense. Spencer Rattler, we talked, he got a cannon for an arm. He's athletic, makes plays. And Lincoln Riley, you got to like that offense.
The biggest question is, we already know the top 3 teams are going to be Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State. It's just who's number 4. Is it going to be Notre Dame or is it going to be Texas A&M? I know Cincinnati is going to move up now. The highest they could probably get to is 6. Yeah, I see them jumping Georgia, Florida losing, and then Iowa State losing. The highest that Cincinnati's going to get is probably, or like maybe even Oklahoma. I don't see a 2-loss Oklahoma jumping Cincinnati in the rankings.
I can see
Cincinnati the highest they're getting at 6, and then I can see a battle between A&M and Notre Dame. That's what I think it comes down to ultimately, Joe. I just don't. I don't see another way that Cincinnati from 9-4 gets in, especially if Cincinnati hasn't played in a month. They needed style points last night. They needed to beat the crap out of Tulsa. Winning on the last minute on a last-second field goal is not going to, especially for a team that's missed the past month due to COVID. Seeing that, the committee, you want style points. They want to see that. That's not going to help their case. So I don't think Cincinnati gets a nod, I would say, maybe even a mention. I would think this comes down to Notre Dame and A&M.
Well, sure. I mean, and Notre Dame gets no style points for getting lit up either. So that certainly puts A&M, who I don't think also really – I mean, you look at the score, 34-13 over Tennessee, and you're like, well, all right. But
if you watched the game, it was a lot closer.
It was a lot closer.
Yeah.
Tennessee played them.
So, to me, nobody really took the opportunity to stand out at all. I mean, other than Clemson, nobody said I'm the champion yesterday. But it's pretty clear Alabama's the best team. And I'll be honest, there was never a moment where I thought Florida was going to win that game. Not from the moment of kickoff till the game ended did I ever think Florida was going to win the game.
I thought they were going to outscore them. I thought they were going to have to outscore them, and I told you right before the show, and I'll say it again. Even Gary Danielson said it right before halftime. When Florida scored with about 1 minute and 9 seconds left, and there was still like 19 seconds on the play clock, he said they scored too early. And I knew it because I'm like, if you watch the game, we couldn't stop them. I mean, Najee Harris was averaging like 5 yards a carry. Devontae Thompson was averaging like 15 yards a catch.
Those three in a
Mac Jones was throwing 20 yards. I mean, it was just like they could do whatever they wanted whenever they wanted. And there was nothing Florida could do. And if they played with 13 men, I don't think they could have stopped Alabama at that point in time.
I think Alabama really showed that they're the cream of the crop. But Clemson, I mean, with a healthy Trevor Lawrence, ETN running the ball like he did, also the linebacker, 47, not playing in that Notre Dame game. Their defense changes when he's there. So seeing Trevor Lawrence, it's just a difference, man. When you have a guy like DJ is going to be a star. He's going to be a future number 1 pick probably in the next 2 years. The kid DJ, the backup.
Oh, DJ?
Yeah, the backup. That's what I've been saying. This kid's going to be a star. But Clemson, you see what Trevor Lawrence, he's the best player in college football. He's going to be the eventual number 1 pick. There's a difference of how a team looks when you have a quarterback like that and you're playing against a team like Notre Dame who's been great all year. Don't get me wrong. But there's a difference between the number 1 pick and a 7th round, maybe undrafted, and Ian Book. That's all I'm trying to say.
I'll be honest. This is the year, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but this is the year you don't need the Final Four. You don't need the college playoff. This is where you can go back to the BCS.
Joe, how do you feel about that?
You can easily have the BCS this year because
cream of the crop.
If you're trying to tell me that number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 have a chance to win, any day anybody could win. We've seen that before. Look at LSU beat Florida. We've seen miracles happen, okay? 1980, USA beats Russia. Clemson and Alabama are the 2 best teams in college football. That's all you need to see. And as long as they're not playing each other in the semifinal, you will see both of them in the national championship. It's inevitable. You have the best player. You have the second best player, Mac Jones. You have the third best player in the receiver, in Devontae. You have the 4th best player in ETN, the running back. You literally could say each one of those guys is the best at their position. And Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence are the 2 best quarterbacks in college football this year, and it's not even close. And you have the 2 best college football coaches in the past 10 years and in history with Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney. And it's not even close because everyone else is just that much below them. And that's why every year until those 2 guys retire, it's going to be Alabama and Clemson, Alabama, Clemson, Alabama, Clemson. And once in a while, we'll sprinkle some Ohio State and Florida and Notre Dame. But at the end of the day, what have we noticed since the college football? It's Alabama, Clemson, Alabama, Clemson. That's all it is. When you have the backup for Clemson in the next 2 years, where do you think Clemson's going to be? Winning the ACC, one of the top 4
just
teams.
in the same spot that they were.
They got another
Lawrence.
top recruiting class. Alabama had
the
number 1 recruiting class. This is what people have to understand. Greatness wants to be with greatness. Alabama has the number 1 recruiting class. Guess what? You know what that means? 9 out of 10 times they are going to be in the national championship because they have the best players on the field. And in college football, just like basketball, when you have the best players, usually you know the outcome before the game. That's why Coastal Carolina wouldn't have even a second before they got off the bus before they would be down 30-0 against Alabama. And it's no detriment to them. They're just at a different skill level. Plain and simple. It's no
they've deserved a hell of a season, and sucks that they didn't get a chance to put on display. Because guess what? Maybe they play or lose with Louisiana, they win big. Maybe they jump Cincinnati as the team outside the Power 5 that gets into a New Year's Six bowl. I would have liked to see in that game because the first game was a really good one, and I was hoping to see Coastal Carolina against Louisiana. But with this year, as it's been, it's given us rough patches.
You know, I would just be interested to see what an actual defense could do against one of those big boys. Since you're gonna extend it to 4, and since there's really not anyone particularly worthy, to me that would be my best argument to make for Cincinnati is what happens if Alabama or Clemson faces an actual good defense, like a really good defense, where they were. And again, listen, that could just as easily still be a 35-0 blowout. I would just be curious to see what that would look like.
Well, here's the thing. I've heard on one of the other shows that you guys, the college football, I think it's all 4 downs, I believe it is, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and what do you guys do that every Tuesday, right?
Wednesday night.
Okay. So, I've heard a lot of guys talk highly of Notre Dame. Notre Dame was supposedly had a really good defense, right? Are we on the same page? Like supposedly they had a really good defense.
That's what
the numbers say, right?
They were a legit defense. They were one.
I wasn't saying that, but I've heard that. I've heard it said.
Even just throughout, not even within us, it's just around that Notre Dame had a respectable defense.
So Clemson kind of destroyed them yesterday. Their defense.
It was 34-3.
And I was trying to say this quietly under my breath. I'm like, Trev, who's Alabama's best defense they face this year? I'm trying to think. Was it Texas A&M? I don't really know. Usually we think of SEC teams, like great defenses. And I said to you, where's your great defenses this year? You don't really know. I mean, Northwestern was a really good defense. I thought they played their rear end off yesterday against Ohio State, and I felt like if they had a little bit more offensive talent, that game would have been a very close game. They lack so much explosion on offense just throughout with their skill players. They had to win a game like a Giants, 17-14. Like we were talking about the Seattle game. That's how they had to win yesterday. And that's what they tried to do. It was 10-6 at halftime. That's the type of game that Northwestern, once it got into the 20s, you can use.
And that's the scary thing. You saw that. I mean, they're the second-rated defense in the country, scoring defense in the country, Northwestern. And Justin Fields probably played his worst game as an Ohio State quarterback yesterday, and they still won by double digits. I mean, We've seen good defenses play against good offense. I mean, Notre Dame is the first one that we think of. They all year we've been saying Notre Dame, great defense, has a really good defense.
I just saw this is a comment. I'm glad you just put that up there. And listen, elite. When you say elite, you're talking a whole different ballgame. You understand what I'm saying? Like elite is like, what was it? The 2007 Alabama defense that had like 7 that's elite. That's elite. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying Cincinnati's not elite. But really, who's their competition that they've played against all year that really shows that they're elite? You could tell me, hey, they only give up 9 points a game, and they only give up 200 yards of offense or defense. But who do they play? Like, where's the explosion offense? Like, you think Cincinnati's keeping Clemson and Alabama under 20 points, under 30? Like, if Cincinnati was playing Alabama,
how about
Joe,
35?
would you watch college football? You do the show. Would you think what you've seen from Alabama and Clemson this year, with those 2 quarterbacks and those offense and the players that they have, that Cincinnati could keep them under 30 points?
No.
So then they're not elite.
I don't. But then again, I don't think anybody could.
That's what.
And I think if anybody could, potentially they would have better odds than most, but they'd probably get blown out.
College football is about offense. Listen, you don't have defense in college football anymore. This is all about quarterbacks. I mean, you're seeing everyone put up 30, 40, 50 points. Huge numbers. The NFL is about defense. Still about defense and off. It's a combo now. I mean, NFL has really changed to make it more offensively. But
you see college football
Big
now.
12, Pac-10, SEC. Remember, SEC was all about defense? It's not even. You don't even know any defenses. Where's Florida's defense? Where's Alabama's? Where's LSU? It's all about putting up points. LSU last year. Records all over the field. 1,000-yard receiver, 1,000-yard rusher, 4,000-yard passer. Mac Jones this year. I mean, Najee Harris. I mean, you could say those are the 3 best players in the position. Mac Jones could be the best quarterback this year. Najee Harris could be the best running back this year, and they have the best receiver in Devontae Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, again, Chase brings up a good point. Look, they did face some explosive offenses. They did a good job with them. Are they going to stop either of those teams? Of course not. No, nobody can.
Jace, I would ask you one question. You're trying to compare. You're telling me right now. You're comparing SMU, Memphis, and Central Florida to Alabama and Clemson. Am I hearing that correctly?
That's not what he's doing. What he said was they have explosive offenses.
Okay. That's fine.
In other words, offenses that generally score a lot of points. I don't have a problem with that statement. That's a true statement. Those are explosive offenses. That doesn't make them elite or put them in the category of Alabama or Clemson or Ohio State. That's not what that says. An explosive offense is one that scores 30 points a game.
So what's your prediction?
That's what you're seeing from those. What's my prediction?
For the four guys that are
in? The same four. It's going to be Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame. And we can all go to sleep and watch those teams blow those teams out and then have a I on all four downs the other day, I had a little Freudian slip, and I referred to it as the BCS. And I think exactly what it's going to be. You might as well just skip right to it. It's COVID. Who cares? I don't need to see Alabama or Clemson beat anybody else up. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. Look at. We could go 10 deep on here. You could pick. I mean, again, Georgia already lost. So I mean, pick anybody else, right? Coastal Carolina. Anybody who wants to get beat up, what would be the point? I guess is what I'm saying. I'd love it to be Coastal Carolina, but they would get lit up too. It would just be fun to see someone different get lit up for once. I definitely disagree with Jimbo Fisher. I don't care to see A&M get lit up again.
We saw that already.
We already saw it. They lost like 4 touchdowns. Why do I want to see it?
Yeah. I don't need to watch Clemson light them up. I already kind of know how it's going to play out. Throw somebody else to the wolves.
It'll be the same. And guess what? And you're not playing Notre Dame and Ohio State, so you're not going to have an evenly matchup. You're going to have to play the two big boys, the two monsters, and you're going to lose either way. You play Alabama, you're going to lose by 28 points like the first time, and if you play Clemson, you're going to lose by 21 points. Plain and simple. No one's better than Alabama and Clemson this year. We want to pretend that all these teams are really that good when really they're not that good. You know,
and they're good, but there's a different level of tier. There's a tier level. I mean, Alabama and Clemson are at that number one tier. Well, then you have like the Ohio State and Notre Dame's, and like that second tier. You could put Cincinnati there as well. But those two teams are just on a different level. And I think yesterday, I mean, good for Florida for keeping that to be an exciting game for the fans and watching it all the way down.
It easily could have been a blowout.
It could have been. But maybe, I don't know, maybe they took the foot off the pedal, Alabama, and said, hey, let's make this interesting for viewers. But still, you just see those two offenses. They're just different. Me, personally, after seeing them, I'd say Clemson's the best team in college football. I was that thoroughly impressed because I got the sense that everybody was trying to tell me Notre Dame is legit this year. And I gave everybody a chance. And I said it. Okay, I'll give you the chance. They're going to be on display against the best quarterback and the future number one pick of the New York Jets and Trevor Lawrence. I saw it for 4 quarters. And I don't see anything that impressed me with Notre Dame. I'm sorry. That good defense, Ian Book had an amazing story, an amazing season, but I saw a different team. And I know Alabama won, and they should be number one. But still, plain and simple, the most impressive team yesterday by far was the Clemson Tigers. And I think going into the college football playoff, whoever they have to play with, that's Ohio State, good luck to them. I'm an Ohio State guy, but I didn't see anything that got me excited as an Ohio State fan. That's concerning. Their offensive line got beat up. Justin Fields was running for his life a lot. I know he played his worst game as an Ohio State quarterback. Thank you, Trey Sermon, for having an out of this world game for us, because we wouldn't be talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes as the number 3 team. Or hell, I don't know if they'll be at number 3. Maybe they stay at 4. I don't know what the committee's going to do. But I think we're all in agreement that Alabama and Clemson are 1-2 by far. And then Ohio State and Notre Dame, are going to be probably 3 and 4. But it's like, good luck.
I'll be honest with you. The reason why I think they put Ohio State at 3 and not Notre Dame at 3 is because they don't want the rematch for the 3rd time, because you already just saw.
It's the money too.
Yeah, but
Fields versus Lawrence.
No, it's not. No,
it's about money.
I could see you want the 3rd game, the final bout. They both have won 1. Let's see it again. But you just saw what happened when Trevor Lawrence.
When they're at full health, Clemson, we saw what they can do.
I don't think it's the Fields Lawrence. I just think we've already seen the rematch. We know.
Think about it. I know there's not going to be any fans, but it's going to Arlington, Texas.
Joe, you know they moved the Rose Bowl, right?
The Rose Bowl is not in the Rose Bowl. Joe. It's in Arlington, Texas.
Dallas Stadium.
Yeah, so Jerry World. So
Joe, I like the move.
I think it's great.
It's smart. I want to just real quick point something out. I mean, if we're going to give all these kudos to Clemson, I would like to point out that before last night's game where they gave up 46 points, that Alabama's defense in the previous 5 games had allowed a total of 36 points.
Yeah.
So
they're 11 points.
I'll give Bama a pass for last night's debacle. They hadn't had a game like that really all year, so I'll forgive that. I think they'll show up in a championship game with Clemson. I'll tell you that.
They played a legit offense.
Florida's offense and Kyle Trask was legit all year, man. That kid had an unbelievable season. He's not going to win the Heisman. Only way he would have won the Heisman is if he pulled the upset last night.
No, if he beat it.
I mean, listen, his numbers were great.
Mac Jones' numbers were even better, though. And he's going to win the Heisman, Mac Jones. He's going to win the Heisman, which is crazy because Tua didn't, but Mac Jones is going to win it. And we thought Tua was definitely going to win it 3 years ago.
It's been that type of year.
That's the type of year. Listen, like I said, Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence are the two best quarterbacks.
I would like to point out that from the very first episode this season of All Four Downs, I said Mac Jones was going all the way, undefeated, Heisman, and winning a national championship.
You should have betted, Joe.
I should have betted.
He was probably like plus 500.
You got to go with your gut sometimes, right, Joe?
I went from. I mean, I'm gonna ride and die with this guy because, and I've been reading up on Mac Jones too. They everybody loves him, the Joker they call him. He's got like a weirdy cackle laugh and just a goofy dude. But you get him on the field and he's all business.
It's gonna suck.
I'll tell you what. I think that matchup last night might have been the perfect tune-up for Alabama for Clemson.
Like preparing for an offense like that.
Sure. It's hard to find somebody that could give you a good scout team look like Trevor Lawrence. You got it last night from Trask, so thanks. That was helpful.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I didn't realize this. They played the conference championship game so late. The national championship's like in 2 weeks. Listen,
January 11th. Was it January 11th or 7th?
It's early.
Yeah, bro, it's like the 20th already, though, isn't it?
Usually bowl games
5 days away from Christmas.
Usually bowl games are already starting right now. And normal football. So, Joe, I also noticed a bunch of other things saying Penn State opted out of the bowl game.
I didn't even know they were going to get into a bowl game.
Yeah, Penn State, they've won like last
How are they figuring out wins this year?
They were the first Big Ten team. A lot of bowl games are
3 and 5.
A lot of bowl games are getting canceled this year. A lot of teams are opting out. Washington opted out. No Rose Bowl game, which is going to be pretty weird not to see the Rose Bowl. You know, like the beautiful
aren't they actually going to have the actual? They'll have the Rose Bowl game.
The game's not at the Rose Bowl.
No, it's not even there.
It's not even at Pasadena. They're moving it. How could you have the game there if they're moving it to Texas?
Well, you had. I don't know. Guess not.
Joe.
Never mind.
Joe, that's a blooper. I mean, he just said they're going to have the game, but it's in Texas. I don't get it.
No, I don't know.
He's losing it, Joe.
I'm losing it. I'm patiently waiting. They still haven't come out with these damn rankings.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much know.
I mean, let's get to it then. It doesn't need to take this long.
Because it probably ends at 12:30.
Right? It comes down to like 1. It's in until 4. It's a 4 o'clock. No. Uh-oh. Do we have an official? Alabama's number 1. Here we go, Joe. We're gonna
No. Here's my surprised face.
Here, I'll put it up there.
Here's the top 4.
We're gonna be live.
We're gonna be live. Yeah, you know what? This is for the live viewers right now.
Come on, Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina 3.
Come on, you know
Clemson. Yeah, there we go.
The key will be who's 3.
Solid choice.
We'll get back to the rankings in a sec. I just want to say, is number 3 going to be Ohio State?
Number 3 should be Ohio State. 4 will be Notre Dame.
Oh, come on. This is unbelievable. We're coming back. We'll talk with you guys. We'll stick with you guys around. We don't need the TV. They know what's going on.
This is unbelievable.
What are they teasing them 2 at a time?
Huh?
What are they teasing them 2 at a time?
Yeah, what is this? And then they'll do 4, and then 3 and 4. And then, hey, guys, here's number 3. The number 3 team. Are we having any day now? I'm getting old.
There's no drama when they start with 1 and 2.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Who's number 3?
Right. Here's my top 5 list. I'll go with number 1 right off the top here, just to get that out of the way.
Ohio State is number 3.
Here, my question to you guys is this: if Clemson never had Trevor Lawrence have COVID, or did not, end up getting sick, and they beat Notre Dame, are they the number 1 team?
That would be up for debate. That would be a very Clemson. That would be a very, very. Ooh. a debate for
Who's
the
playing,
ages.
who's
I don't
playing
know.
tougher competition? Well, Alabama's best win would
I just
be
want to see what number
Florida,
4 is, and then
Texas
we'll come
A&M,
back.
and Clemson's would be Notre Dame twice.
Who's number 4? Give us number 4, and then we'll go back to, and then we'll come back because we're
Yeah,
5
I
and
don't
6. Nah, we don't care about 5.
We
and
know who
6.
5 and 6 is going to be.
Joe's like, what's going on right now? This is taking too long. The drama is on.
Listen, I don't think, and I also don't think they want to exclude have two SEC teams in there either. To be honest with you, I don't think they want 2 SEC teams in there.
Who's number 4?
So you bring in Notre Dame, you get and
all right, so they didn't get to number 4 yet.
because they got to talk about it.
So
forever.
think about this. You know who's going to be the real winners of this whole thing? It'll be the NCAA, because think about the matchups they're going to have. They're going to have Justin Fields versus Trevor Lawrence in a rematch. They're going to have Ohio State Clemson rematch, and then they're going to have Alabama versus most likely Notre Dame. Those are the 3 temes. We don't need that. Stop it. Settle down. You're taking too much control of this.
Settle.
Ever
seen that joke? Liar.
Come on, liar. And then you'll have an Alabama versus Notre Dame in your other matchup. I mean, think about who wins. The NCAA ultimately wins.
You're a winner. I'm a winner. Everybody's a winner.
I mean, those 4 teams right there. I mean, and then you get. I mean, the New Year's Six Bowls are the ones that I'm intrigued by. What matchups are going to be?
Games I'm intrigued by.
Where is Coastal Carolina going to go? That's a question. That's the most interesting question for me, because they are undefeated.
They're not going to play in a big game.
I know they're not. It's going to suck.
They're going to play like in the Tropicana Bowl game.
Yeah, they're going to play in some lousy bowl, and it's not going to be fun.
See, I would have loved to see Coastal Carolina. I think it's stupid that only one of the big, like, if Cincinnati gets in, okay, so why can't Coastal Carolina have one of the big games? Like, I'd like to see, like, Coastal Carolina play Florida. Why not? Both explosive offense. Coastal Carolina's got a good defense. I think that's a realistic matchup. It'd be a good test.
No, Coastal Carolina versus Georgia.
No,
because I think with JT Daniels,
Georgia's not going to get in a Big 6 bowl game.
Well, they're in the top 10.
No, it doesn't matter.
With 3 losses,
you can't get multiple teams in.
With 3 losses, you think Florida gets in a New Year's Six Bowl with 3 losses?
Yeah, because they were in the college championship. They were in the big championship game.
Ridiculous.
They were the second best team. That's how it goes. But Texas A&M is the 3rd best team.
No, they should.
Joe,
Sorry for the long pause, but we're just getting.
They're really overhyping this, huh? Just say Notre Dame already, please.
Joe, I mean, this is like the election. We knew in September it was over.
Maybe Notre Dame is number 4, and there it is. There's your top 4, ladies and gentlemen. It's official. There it is. There's your top 4. Hey, 5 and 6. Good luck. Have fun of your drama.
We know it's over. 5 will
be
be
A&M,
Texas,
and then it'll be Cincinnati.
Bam.
So there's your top 4. The unveiling of the top 4 college football 2020 is now official, as we will have Alabama and Notre Dame and Clemson, Ohio State, part 2. So it should be fun. You know Alabama's going to be the first game, and you know the night game's going to be Justin Fields versus Trevor Lawrence. Joe, are you surprised? We shouldn't be surprised.
So Notre Dame's going to lose.
It was the most obvious, probably top 4 decision in college football playoff history. Plain and simple.
And here's the thing. You know how we all talk about expanding the playoffs? This year really didn't need it, because we know who was going to be the top 2 teams. As we've already said multiple times in the last 28 minutes, there's no one beating Alabama and Clemson. Unless Mac Jones or Trevor Lawrence is sick with COVID or gets hurt.
Hey, don't rule it out. Don't rule it out. It's not like it's like
they're going to keep those guys in a bubble for the next couple of weeks. Are you serious?
Well, absolutely.
I mean, like a literal bubble.
So if you had to rank the quarterbacks, you would put Trevor Lawrence 1, Mac Jones 2, and then Justin Fields 3, Ian Book 4.
Yeah,
that's how it would be.
Exactly.
Because those are all really. I mean, other than maybe Kyle Trask, I would say those 4 best quarterbacks in college football
easily.
Okay.
Easily.
Trask would be the 3rd best quarterback in that group if he was in that group. He'd be ahead of Fields.
That's hilarious. You're probably right.
The way he's playing this year, maybe not in the draft. And I know people say Fields is the higher upside, absolutely athletic. But I think the way I watched Trask progress this year, and he showed me a lot of mocks last night.
A&M just came in at 5, and 6 should be Cincinnati, like we said.
I don't know. I was impressed with Trask.
Maybe
night.
Oklahoma
throws a good ball.
Oh, I won't be shocked if Oklahoma slips in there, which would be so ridiculous. But
because it's Oklahoma, the name. Watch, Cincinnati will be 7. So I guess that's all.
Oh, you know what? That could be, because Oklahoma did do damage against Iowa State yesterday.
Like 2 losses over an undefeated. That would be ridiculous, though. I don't like that. I wouldn't.
Here's my thing, though.
They beat an SEC team, though.
My thing is this. When we rank them, right? You know, like, hey, if Coastal Carolina is 11-0 and Alabama's 10-1, should we put Coastal Carolina over Alabama?
Obviously not. But if Oklahoma was playing Cincinnati, would you bet Cincinnati to win the game? I don't know if I would. I'm being honest. I don't know if I would. Now,
I would sign
that would be a great game.
Oklahoma's penchant for blowing big games is something I'll always bet on.
I know.
It's like Georgia.
They were doing it with Bob Stoops, and they've done it since.
I would actually sign me up for that.
But if we could get that in a bowl game, Oklahoma,
that'd be great. I'd love to see that.
I would love that. Oklahoma versus Cincinnati.
Absolutely.
That's what I get intrigued by is the New Year's Six Bowl.
It's going to be like
I want to see what those matchups are going to look like.
Cincinnati's going to play.
And Oklahoma
becomes
becomes
Joe.
six. As expected, the big name. What a non-surprise. The names always reign supreme in NCAA. It will always be that way.
This ain't March Madness.
I know, but still, Cincinnati's a good team. Let's not make it seem like they're not a good team. They are a good team. That. So they probably finished 7th, and then Georgia maybe 8th.
No. Coastal Carolina will be.
Yeah, watch out for Florida. Florida will finish ahead of Cincinnati too.
No, that shouldn't be a 3-loss.
Oh man! Well, there's the top 6. The top 6 is official. A surprise at the end, but really was it a surprise? Probably not.
Joe, you're in fantasy this week, right? Playoffs?
No, he missed the playoffs.
No,
I'm in the playoffs. I'm down 45-1.
I won 5 in a row to close out the season, and for what?
I lost 6 in a row, and I still got it.
Yeah, I beat both of you the last couple weeks, and I got bumped. Unbelievable.
I was the best team in my other league, and I had started Aaron Rodgers last night. He only got me. He didn't do too well for me. I go figures.
He had a rushing touchdown, too.
That's great. 143 yards passing.
Yeah.
See, that's what kills me about Aaron Rodgers. You watch his stats, and it's like 143 yards, 199 yards, 3 touchdowns. And it's like, what the hell? I watch Mahomes. It's like 400 yards.
Doesn't matter. I'm in the fantasy playoffs. I'm making a shocking upset. Let's go.
I need Mahomes to have a bad day.
I hope Mahomes has a killer.
I guarantee that's what they're talking
I can't wait for Big Blue tonight. It should be exciting, though.
Oh, I need some of that.
We need a nice win. Colt McCoy is starting, so officially they made that yesterday. Joseph, there's your top 6.
That's what they're talking about now. Oklahoma and Cincinnati. They're talking. So that's what we said. So Joey Gallagher is bringing up the point that I always bring up: eye test versus resume. Your resume says you're a top 5, top 6 team. You're undefeated. The eye test, when I watch real football and I look it in my eyes and I watch, I'm like, I don't know if Cincinnati is a better team than Oklahoma right now.
You got to put those two together in a matchup.
Sure.
You got the
or Texas A&M.
No, give me Cincinnati, Oklahoma. I'd rather see a Texas A&M. I would see Texas A&M again.
Texas A&M is 5 though. I'd rather see if Oklahoma. They beat Oklahoma. Texas A&M's loss is only to Alabama, so you want to be the elite, you should beat Texas A&M, not Oklahoma. Well, you beat a team that's got 2 losses.
Texas A&M versus Coastal Carolina, baby. Sign me up, Joseph.
Yes, sir.
As always.
Man, I was so holding out for Coastal Carolina to be 4th. Damn.
You're such a liar.
You are the liar. He's such a liar. Why you got to be like that? But ladies and gentlemen, it is Sunday. It's time to watch some NFL football. Go Big Blue. Cannot wait. There is a special drawing about the G-Men tonight. So anybody that wants to see a little Giants Big Blue preview, then check out drawing about the G-Men tonight at 7:45. Square up. Better be there. But ladies and gentlemen, there it is. The top 6 is official. We don't know the rest of the rankings. We'll see it, and we'll see the New Year's 6 bowls. We'll be talking more college football now because it is officially the bowl season. So everybody, we're going to hopefully be back before the holidays. If not, we wish you, from the Keys to the City family, a Merry Christmas. But we'll be back. We're going to be back. We need to see our peeps. Ladies and gentlemen, Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
To the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we're unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.